I'm with Margate manager Ben Greenhalgh after his side's 1-1 draw away at Merstham. Ben, a point on the road and a somewhat positive performance. How would you assess the 90 minutes?
Yeah, I think in general it was a much more progressive performance, and I think that's what we need to ask for. I think when we look at ourselves as a group, we probably haven't quite set the standards we want to set, or play in the manner that we want to play. But we worked on things on Thursday night, and we want to implement a little bit more quality in the way that we play in terms of getting the ball under control, not force the longer balls as much as we probably have been. And also, I think a big important thing that we haven't been good enough at this year was getting on the end of first contacts on whether it's set pieces or the crossing elements of our game, which we knew we got a lot of goals from last year. So they were the two things that we really focused on Thursday night to try and help us improve. And I think that showed. There were still times when, look, things aren't going to be perfect, and there were a couple of occasions where we probably didn't get that right, and we did force things again, but we showed a lot more quality. We got the ball down where we could, and created much better passages of play. And I think as the game went on, we always set ourselves out in the first half to be well and truly in the game. We were going against a really good outfit of Merstham, and we've had some good battles with them last year, having 2 draws, and they're a good team that got themselves into the playoffs. So we knew in the first half we needed to stay within the game, and I think we did that. And then I think we took it to them in the second half, and it looked like we were going to be the team to go on and win. And like we spoke about, Harry's got on the end of one of my set pieces, and it was brilliant for him to get that first contact. And it looked like we probably had 3 or 4 more set pieces in dangerous areas where things just didn't quite fall for us. I mean, they didn't quite get the first contact, and neither did we. And ricocheting down in the box, and I think on another day it falls to us, and we end up scoring a goal from them. And so I think we've got to take the positives. I think there was much better football played. Still, and obviously a tight grass pitch at Merstham, which is tough to find space and things. So I think we're positive with things. Like we said, we wanted to get the 3 points. It's very difficult to always ask and guarantee the 3 points. I think we need to get 3 points with where we are at the moment. But we've had a really tough run. I don't think I've ever been part of a team ever in my career that was due to have 8 away games in a row, which is just absolutely crazy. Obviously, we will now have had 6 due to the replay where we did manage to go back to Hartstown Park for 1 game, but it's something that we just seem to be up against it at the moment. But at the same time, we need to start picking up points, and we'll look to start doing that, and we will start doing that.
Like you say there, actually, I know you'll be disappointed to have reached the end of August now and not have won in the league. But when you look at that run of games that we've had and you look at them points that we've got compared to where we were last season, it's not too dissimilar. And obviously the fixtures have potentially been a lot more difficult than the start of last season. So in terms of where we're at, I know it's not where you might want to be, but it's still a positive outlook, isn't there?
Yeah, I think we've got 2 ways of looking at it between sort of myself, Flanny, LT, Owen and Graham as well. We've got 2 ways of looking at it where we know last year we didn't actually win a league game in August, and we haven't won a league game in August this year, so we've probably got to have a little look at that. But at the same time, you don't want to focus too much on last year. I think the games were easier last year and we didn't have as many points. We've had 3 really tough games against Sittingbourne, Ashford and Merstham, all being away from home. Don't get me wrong, I think we've had elements in those games where we should and could have got 3 points, but at the same time, we've shown signs in the performances, and I think the most important thing right now is progression, because if we continue to progress, the 3 points will come. But I think we have to maybe not look at last season as much, because it's a new year. We've got new teams in the division, and technically we are a new team, and we're trying to play in a different way, and that's challenging the players. And maybe when you look at how we started in the first couple of weeks, we probably weren't quite there and ready, and we didn't sort of implement those playing styles that we talked about, and we've probably reversed back to things that we didn't want to be doing, and that probably caused negative results as such. So I think there's definitely an element where we're now going the other way and we're trying to progress. We want to progress as a football team. We want to progress as a football club. The players we've brought in, we want them to make us better, and I believe they will. I think Kane's been absolutely brilliant since he's come in. I think a lot of our other signings of like Blue have come in and look really strong. We just hasn't quite got his chances. And then Kieran's obviously the perfect example of that. He's come on in games and been a really good positive effect. We just haven't been able to get him quite in the mix from the start yet. And that will happen, that will come. So I think as we start gelling even more as a team, I think those points and those even more positive performances will come.
And I know this week, obviously, 2 away games again in the week, but both cup games. Will that give you an opportunity as manager to give those boys that you've just mentioned a run out potentially in the team? Velocity Cup on Tuesday, is that the sort of opportunity that them boys will get and could take?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's odd now. We go into our next 3 games of 3 completely different cups and 3 away games again. So it's a little bit of an odd one. You need to manage players. We've had a lot of games of football in this short space of time, and it's some players will need a rest. But at the same time, we're going to give players, obviously from the youth, opportunities to be in and around it. We've got young players anyway within our squad that might need more opportunities and more game time. But we don't want to make it false at the same time. We don't want to make it a case of where you go and see players that you've never seen before at all, and even for those young players come in, you want them to make them, or you want to make it feel for them like a real experience. You don't want them to be like, oh, is this just feels like an under-23s game, but representing the first team. So we will get boys involved with opportunities, and that's one thing I am a big believer in, and we've proved that over the years at Margate. And I was even just thinking this the other day, there's so many players, and you're looking at obviously the likes of Martial, who looks like he might be going to Strasbourg and things, and there's a lot of pride from within the Margate fan base of these young players that have come to Margate and made a name for themselves at Margate and really kicked on within non-league football or even football league football. And we've got a bit of an ambition to try and help more players from around Thanet do that as well, and we've got a lot of good young players coming through, but it's about being patient, it's about getting their time right, and also, like we said, giving them a real experience. So when they do get opportunities, it is playing with first team players and experiencing first team players.
And just on that point of the 3 cup games now, 3 different cup competitions, 3 games now away from the league, is that a good thing or a bad thing, Ben, when you're trying to get that first league win?
I think it's both. I mean, just got to look at my experience as a manager, which is obviously only 1 year. I've got a lot of experience of coaching and playing football, obviously, but my experience as a manager was, like we said, we didn't get our first 3 points until the 10th of September last year, and I was looking back on that. So there's no panic stations regarding that. I think if we'd have continued the way we sort of managed ourselves for the first 45 against Sittingbourne, and maybe for 45 minutes in a couple of other games as well, if we'd have continued with those performances, there would be a few more sort of bit of situations where we'd have to really be questioning what we're doing and what we need to change in terms of whether it be personnel or shape or the manner in which we're playing. But the performances have got progressively better, and it's difficult to do that away from home as well, because I think if you're at home week in, week out, which obviously no one really ever is, you've got your way of playing and you can improve on that in each game. But we've gone from playing at Egham away, which is a really difficult grass pitch, that was a tight pitch, and if I'm being honest, wasn't in the best of conditions, to then going to Ashford on a Monday, which is Astro on a really hot day, to then coming to Merstham yesterday, where it was more of a really well looked after grass pitch, but still quite a tight one as well. So you've played 3 completely different pitches where you do have to adapt your game a little bit. So it's hard to progress too much, but I am positive in the manner that we have progressed. And it looked like yesterday, like we said, if we got in the end a couple more set pieces or got the rub of the green a little bit where the ball could have fell to us or could have got the ball in the back of the net at the right times, I think it was us to win. And there was an element of obviously yesterday where we brought in Michael Clark, where we've got Nighty, E-Man and Blackie out, which is 3 key players, 2 really experienced players and 1 a really progressive, dominant centre-back for us. So we brought in Michael Clark, who's actually done a brilliant job, and I feel a bit sorry for him because the goal we've conceded, he's been pulled to the ground and they've suddenly gone in and scored, and I think it's a foul. I think most referees will give it. I think the way the referee was refereeing yesterday, he was actually a really good referee, but he was giving those sort of softer ones, and I think a referee in that position would normally give that as a foul. And I think that's things where we haven't quite got the rub of the green on those decisions, and there's been a couple of other moments like that, and we've always spoken about, and just making sure we keep doing the right things, and I think our luck will come our way, and that ball might fall in the back of the net, or we might get one of those decisions, and inevitably that leads you to getting those 3 points.
And just finally, Ben, a word for your captain. Obviously, he scored the goal to get us level. How important was that for him and his confidence as well, and just him as a captain showing the other players on how to lead the team moving forward.
Yeah, I think we demand a lot from our defend, not just Harry, from our other defenders, from obviously our more physically dominant attackers. We know we need to get on the end of set pieces better, and it's not even a case of like we have to score. It's more of a case of, can we up the percentages of getting first contacts, of making sure we get first to the ball, and inevitably when you up those percentages, you end up scoring more goals. And actually, this year in comparison to last year, we've been quite low on that department, where we haven't won enough balls in opponents' boxes. And you can look at it and talk about is it the deliveries, and we always look at absolutely everything. And frustratingly, I think yesterday we got the ball into some really good areas. We had a lot of set pieces. I think we worked out. I think we had 8 or 9 set pieces in the final 20 minutes within 30 yards of their goal, and you just it put pressure on them. It looked like we were going to be the team to score, and brilliant from Harry to get on the end of one and score it. He's got on the end of another one which we thought was going to go in and things. We just we were always going to demand a little bit more, and I'm glad that we spoke about on Thursday night of getting those first contacts, and we've taken the information on a little bit better. But I still think there's a lot more to come on that. I still think we want other players to step up and make it their moments. And we've got enough players that can win a header, that can get in front of their players and make the right runs. And I think that's something, again, like with all other things, it's progressive. We managed to get on the end of one, but now we've got to start demanding more and show more quality on the ball and get on the end of more set pieces and make more first contacts, which, again, like we spoke about, will get us moving in the right direction again and continuing positively.